Across the vast and verdant landscape of southeastern Nigeria, the Igbo people have thrived for centuries, cultivating a unique identity that is vibrant, resilient, and rich in tradition. Yet beneath the surface of their cultural tapestry, there lies a story that stretches far beyond the borders of West Africa, a story that reaches across continents and millennia, connecting the Igbo to an ancient lineage and a storied past. This is the narrative of the Igbo's claimed Israelite descent, a tale woven with threads of oral history, linguistic echoes, and striking cultural parallels. This journey begins with the Igbo themselves, a people numbering in the tens of millions, known for their entrepreneurial spirit, intricate social systems, and a history marked by both triumph and adversity. Across the towns and villages of Igbo land, traditions are passed down through generations, from the rhythmic beat of the Udu drum to the solemn rituals of the New Yam festival. But even as the Igbo celebrate their distinctiveness, many within the community have long believed that their roots lie in a distant land, ancient Israel. The claim of Israelite ancestry among the Igbo is not new. For generations, elders have recounted tales of migration from the Middle East, stories preserved in the oral traditions that serve as the heartbeat of Igbo culture. According to these accounts, the ancestors of the Igbo were once part of the lost tribes of Israel, dispersed and scattered after the fall of the ancient kingdom. The narrative is compelling, and over time, it has been embraced by many Igbo who see in it a source of pride and spiritual connection. But what evidence underpins this remarkable claim? To understand the depth and complexity of the Igbo Israelite narrative, we must explore the intersections of language, culture, and history, examining the parallels that have inspired generations of inquiry and debate. Linguistically, some scholars and community members have noted similarities between Igbo and Hebrew, two languages separated by thousands of miles and years of evolution. While the mainstream linguistic consensus maintains that Igbo is a Niger-Congo language, distinct from the Semitic family to which Hebrew belongs, proponents of the Israelite connection point to a handful of words and names that appear to resonate across both tongues. Consider, for instance, the Igbo word for God, Chukwu. To some, the resemblance to the Hebrew El Shaddai, or Yahweh, is more than coincidental, suggesting a shared spiritual vocabulary. Other observers point to ceremonial greetings, personal names, and even certain proverbs that seem to echo ancient Hebrew patterns. While such parallels are often the subject of spirited debate among linguists, they remain a source of fascination and affirmation for those who see in them the fingerprints of a lost heritage. Yet it is perhaps in the realm of culture and tradition that the Igbo-Israelite connection is most vividly expressed. Across Igbo land, rituals and practices abound that, at first glance, bear a striking resemblance to those described in the Hebrew Bible. The observance of circumcision on the 8th day after birth, the reverence for the Ark, known among some Igbo as the Ark of the Covenant, and the meticulous attention to ritual purity, all have been cited as evidence of a shared ancestral memory. Among the most compelling cultural parallels is the Igbo practice of keeping certain dietary laws. Traditionally, the Igbo refrain from eating specific animals deemed unclean, such as pig and certain types of fish, customs that mirror the dietary restrictions found in the Book of Leviticus. The observance of sacred feasts and festivals, too, has drawn comparison to the Jewish calendar, with the Igbo New Yam festival evoking echoes of the biblical harvest festival. The Igbo social structure, with its emphasis on kinship, community, and the role of elders, has also been likened to the tribal organization of ancient Israel. The division of the Igbo people into clans and lineages, each with its own priestly families and traditions, recalls the 12 tribes of Israel and the central role of the Levites in spiritual affairs. In some communities, the Nzena Ozo title holders, respected men who have undergone rigorous initiation, are seen as akin to the biblical priesthood, custodians of sacred knowledge and mediators between the people and the divine. Ritual purification is another area where parallels have been drawn. Among the Igbo, elaborate ceremonies are performed to cleanse individuals and communities of impurity, echoing the purification rites prescribed in the Mosaic Law. The use of symbolic objects such as staffs, incense, and special garments further underscores the ritualistic affinities between the two cultures. Perhaps most evocative of all is the Igbo tradition of storytelling, in which elders recount the history of the people, tracing their origins to a land beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, or toward the rising sun. These stories often speak of a great migration, of trials and deliverance, and of the enduring covenant between the ancestors and the Creator. For many Igbo, these tales are not mere legend, but echoes of a historical reality that binds them to the Israelites of old. The question, of course, arises, how did such parallels come to exist? Are they the result of ancient contact and shared ancestry, or are they the product of convergent evolution, shaped by the common experiences of human societies across time and space? The answer remains elusive, and scholars continue to debate the origins and significance of these similarities. Some historians suggest that the Israelite connection may have arisen through contact with Jewish traders, missionaries, or migrants who traveled across North Africa and into the Sahel in ancient times. Others posit that the narrative of Israelite descent emerged as a means of forging identity and solidarity in the face of colonialism and the transatlantic slave trade, a way for the Igbo to assert their dignity and spiritual worth in a world that sought to devalue them. Yet for many Igbo, the claim is not simply a matter of historical curiosity or cultural pride. It is a living faith, woven into the fabric of daily life and spiritual practice. In the 20th century, the rise of the Sabbath-keeping Igbo Jews and the emergence of synagogues across southeastern Nigeria have given new expression to this ancestral connection. These communities observe Jewish holidays, study the Torah, and maintain links with Jewish organizations around the world, seeking recognition and fellowship as part of the global Jewish family. The experience of the Igbo Jews is both inspiring and complex. On the one hand, they embody a deep yearning for spiritual homecoming, a desire to reclaim what they see as their lost heritage. On the other, they face skepticism and sometimes opposition, both from within the broader Igbo community and from segments of the global Jewish community, who question the historical and halakhic basis of their claims. Yet, the Igbo's identification with Israel resonates powerfully in the collective imagination. It speaks to the universal human longing for belonging, for connection to something greater than oneself. It is a testament to the enduring power of narrative, of the stories we tell about who we are and where we come from. The notion of Israelite descent also carries profound implications for the broader history of Africa and the diaspora. It challenges simplistic narratives of African identity, highlighting the continent's deep and diverse connections to the ancient world. It invites us to reconsider the boundaries of ethnicity and religion, to recognize the ways in which cultures have intersected and influenced one another across the centuries. In recent years, advances in genetics have added a new dimension to the conversation. DNA studies have sought to trace the origins of the Igbo and other West African peoples, comparing their genetic markers to those of Jewish populations around the world. The results, as yet, are inconclusive, with most studies finding no direct evidence of Israelite ancestry. However, the limitations of genetic research, particularly when dealing with populations that have undergone centuries of migration and admixture, mean that the door remains open to further discovery. What is clear is that the story of the Igbo and their claimed Israelite descent is more than a question of blood or DNA. It is, at its heart, a story about identity, memory, and the search for meaning. It is about a people's quest to understand their place in the world, to honor the legacy of their ancestors, and to forge a future rooted in faith and resilience. Across Igbo land today, the echoes of this ancient narrative continue to shape the rhythms of life. In the bustling markets of Onitsha and the quiet courtyards of rural villages, in the songs of praise and the solemnity of ritual, the Igbo remember who they are and where they believe they came from. For some, the story of Israelite descent is a matter of historical fact. For others, it is a symbol of hope and destiny, a reminder that the journey of the people is never finished. This narrative also speaks to the broader human experience. It reminds us that our identities are not static, but dynamic and evolving, shaped by the interplay of memory, myth, and lived reality. It challenges us to look beyond the surface of things, to seek out the hidden connections that bind us to one another across time and distance. As we reflect on the Igbo Israelite story, we are invited to consider the power of tradition, the ways in which rituals, language, and belief systems carry the weight of generations. We are reminded of the importance of preserving and honoring our heritage, even as we adapt to the changing world around us. The claim of Israelite descent among the Igbo is, in the end, a testament to the enduring human spirit. It is a story of survival and adaptation, of memory and hope. It is a reminder that even in the face of adversity, the bonds of kinship and faith can sustain us, guiding us forward on the journey of life. In the quiet moments before dawn, as the first light filters through the trees of Igboland, an elder sits by the fire, recounting the ancient stories to a circle of attentive children. His voice is steady and sure, weaving together the threads of history and myth, of pride and longing. In his words, the past comes alive, and the promise of the future shines bright, a future rooted in the knowledge of who they are and the conviction that their story is far from over. As the sun rises over the hills and rivers of southeastern Nigeria, the Igbo people move forward, carrying with them the echoes of a journey that began long ago and continues to unfold. Their story is a testament to the enduring power of identity, the resilience of tradition, and the unbreakable bonds that connect us all to one another and to the mysteries of history that have yet to be fully revealed. In the end, the question of the Igbo's Israelite descent may never be answered with certainty. Yet perhaps the true significance lies not in the resolution of the mystery, but in the journey itself, the ongoing search for meaning, for connection, and for understanding in a world that is ever-changing, yet bound together by the timeless threads of memory and hope. And if you're still here, maybe your soul just got touched in the deepest place. At Tales of Black, every story is a ritual, a reminder that some memories are not written in books, but in bone and blood. If this story stirred something in you, share it with someone still wandering. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what comes next. And if there's a legend, a memory, or a haunting you want told, leave it in the comments. Maybe your story is the next one summoned in the ritual.